My name is Billy Kenoi, Mayor of the County of Hawaii, and it is my privilege and honor to stand before all of you with our administration to present our budget for the next fiscal year. As was stated earlier, our budget is $412,608,475. It's our first budget since we took office on December 1st of 2008 that exceeds the budget when we came into office. In 2008, when we came into the office, the budget was $403 million. We did something unprecedented with your cooperation and collaboration, and that was to reduce the size and cost of county government for 4 consecutive years. That reduction was never seen at any time in the history of the County of Hawaii. And that first year, we submitted to all of you, the County Council, a budget at that time of about $387 million. The next year, we came in and submitted a budget of $375 million. Third year, we came in and submitted a budget of $367 million. And in our fourth year, we submitted another reduced budget of $365 million. Our current fiscal year we're operating under now, our operating budget is at $394 million. The difference between this year's budget of $394 million and next year's budget are $412,608,475.67. No, I don't know. I don't know how many cents, but I wouldn't work so hard memorizing that. I had to share them a couple times. But the difference, about $18.4 million, is entirely attributed to increases both at collective bargaining and negotiated agreements and awards at arbitration, totaling $18.4 million, which is for salaries, wages, benefits, and costs for our Hawaii County employees. This includes our police officers under SHOPO, our firefighters under HFFA, and our county employees under both the Hawaii Government Employees Association and the United Public Workers. So we've, in spite of that challenge, tried to maintain the delivery of core county essential government services, while at the same time continuing to focus on public safety, continuing to focus on infrastructure and transportation, and continuing to focus on creating healthy, safe communities for our children, for our families, and for our seniors. Now, in total tax collections, when we took office, it was about $225 million. We saw that decline to about $198.5 million. Now it's increasing to the point where we're $9.4 million, or 2.3% more than when we took office. In terms of budget and tax collections, in the coming year, thankfully, we are finally experiencing a modest recovery in our property tax valuations and therefore in our property tax revenues. In the coming fiscal year, it's projected that our property tax revenues will increase $13 million, or about 5.9%. And that has secured Stan Sitko's job as property tax appraiser. I was thinking some of his calculations must have been off these many years of property tax revenue declines. And I know every single one of our department heads here have had to hear that refrain, a very challenging one when it's multiple years back to back in consecutive order. And that request is to please do more with less. I want to thank all of our hardworking county employees. I know sometimes there's criticisms of county employees, but the ones that I've worked with, that I know, I'm very proud to serve with our county workforce. These are good, hardworking people who show up every day and try to deliver high quality programs, services, and support to everyone in our island-wide community. And in the past years, they all have taken furloughs, reductions in pay, 1 year, 9.25%, 5% another year. Step increases were frozen for almost nearly 5 years now. And I'm supportive of our county employees who've made those sacrifices and who are now receiving, either through collective bargaining negotiations or through awards at arbitrations, increases in pay. I myself, knowing the economic challenges that we all collectively face, decided that myself and my staff would be the first to take furloughs that first year we're in office, to lead by example. And I'll make sure that I'm the last to accept any raises, because I truly believe that this position, this opportunity, is not about pay or benefits. It's about the humbling privilege to serve. I'd like to point out a couple of our department heads who've been doing an outstanding job. Every year, we've taken our administration into the communities and listened and answered questions and shared information, and taken any question that anybody might have, either in a public forum or if they wanted to speak one-on-one. And every one of these administrators or department heads attended those meetings, whether it was in Hawaii or Pahala, Pahoa, Keao, Kailua Kona, Holua Loa, Honau Nau, Lapoi Hoi, Pauilo, even when Kukui Haile. Sometimes we outnumbered the community who came. But we said it's only right on a community that we go and listen. And that's some of our challenges when the state legislature or those on Bishop Street try to dictate what happens on Kaiminani Street or in Kenoi Street. For those of us who call Hawaii Island home, we're very protective of our island community, because all of you, as well as all of us, hear firsthand the concerns of our community. And I try to share with them, how can you know on Bishop Street what's happening in Kenoi Street when those in Hilo or in Kona have a hard time knowing what's going on in Kohala or Ka'u? And so that responsiveness, I've been very appreciative of everybody who's made that sacrifice. And to work in our administration, as all of you know, it's a very demanding one. I ask, sometimes I insist, sometimes I beg and plead for them to work evenings and weekends, for them to make sacrifices of their own family. And I couldn't work with a better group of people, more honest, committed, intelligent, hardworking group of people. I want to thank Lincoln Ashita, our Corporation Counsel, who steered the ship of the County of Hawaii and provided sound legal advice, very strategic legal advice, who's managed an outstanding office of people with Corporation Counsel, Kathy Garson, and an outstanding group who provide legal services to 18 county departments, as well as the Hawaii County Council. Thank you, Lincoln, for all your years of service. 13 years as prosecutor, 13 years as Corporation Counsel, longest serving Corporation Counsel in the County of Hawaii. And thank your staff, Lincoln, and Martha as well, for her leadership. I want to thank both of our chiefs, Chief Darren Rosario and Chief Harry Kobajiri. Nothing allows an administrator, public servant, greater peace that allows a father and a husband greater comfort than to know, as you lie at night, that your children are safe, that your family is safe, that your friends and neighbors are safe, that everybody on this island, regardless of where they live, regardless of their means, can dial 3 numbers, 911, and have some of the best, most qualified, certified individuals come running through that front door. There is no measure of pride that I could quantify when I sit with other mayors or other municipal leaders from around the country, and I feel so thankful to have such good people doing such outstanding work. I don't think he's here because he probably hasn't slept a wink, but I'm probably most thankful, and I by saying this, I do not mean to diminish any of the high quality leaders who sit with me today, but to have former Fire Chief Darryl Oliveira as our Civil Defense Administrator puts us at the top of any city any town, any community in the country of the United States of America. A man who's so humble, so kind, so giving, that any phone call he makes to a federal, state, or community organization is immediately answered. His ability, his experience, his expertise in coordinating our preparedness, our response, and God forbid, hopefully never our recovery. But his leadership at Civil Defense is something to behold. For those of you who have not gone to the Emergency Operations Center, or EOC, in times of emergency, we welcome all of you to witness a very strategic, a very coordinated, and a first-class organization with very limited resources. So I'd like to thank Chief Darryl Oliveira for serving. The rest of you, mahalo. No, I'm just kidding, bro. I'm just kidding. You know, I could go on and on, because much of our meetings, when people leave the office, I sit back and I exhale and I go, so thankful that I have a finance team who can sit with you and make intelligent, very complex numbers, putting together a budget to operate municipal government that spans over 4,028 square miles. So thanks to this wonderful administration, this leadership team, and everybody who makes county work day in, day out, and to all of our hardworking employees who are out there on the streets in our parks. So what have we tried to do with this budget? What was our plan going into this budget, into our second year of our second term? And I'm here to tell you that what we're doing this year is no different than what we've done every single year. We haven't changed our priorities. We haven't shifted or modified our commitment. Changes in the budget that all of you see, and thankfully, this budget presented to you requires no increase in property taxes, no increase in additional revenues to maintain. So there's a question, well, you know, in spite of these budgets that we've submitted and the cuts we've made, wages, benefits, healthcare expenses have grown by 30.4 million, or 16.95% during this entire time. So we've been able to hold the budget with increasing costs. But we've also instructed our departments to continue to push to priority projects and initiatives. And what were those initiatives? This administration, since the beginning of our term, have now executed over $283 million in contracts. And that has been a benefit to all of our community, because it has allowed us to take advantage of very competitive bidding. It's allowed us to take advantage of very favorable interest rates, while at the same time creating jobs, badly needed jobs, in our construction industry. So we currently have infrastructure projects ongoing that includes the Kamehameha Avenue restoration. Just after completion of the Kilauea Avenue restoration, we'll be working on Pono Hawaii and Komohana shortly. We'll continue to move forward with the extension of Kapiolani Street from Lanikaula to Moho'uli. On the west side, of course, we have ongoing the La'aloa, $20 million Maukamakai project that is ongoing. Just completed a $10 million Ka'iminani street improvement on phase 1. Mamalohoa will be going out to bid within the next month, and that will be another $30 million project. I had to go back, look at Warren, and make sure he's not shaking his head no or anything. But so, infrastructure, recreation. We continue to move forward with the Ka'u gym and disaster preparedness shelter for the community that will be completed at the end of this year. We will be investing the largest county investment in recreation for our children and our families in Puna, Waimea, and Kona, as well as moving projects forward, continue to do so here in East Hawaii as well as in Hamakua. We see in the budget an increase in areas that we committed to the Hawaii County Council last year to improve. One, of course, is information and technology, to upgrade our software, to upgrade our computer system, to allow our customers, our taxpayers, our residents better, easier access online to county programs and services. We have seen an increase in the budget around mass transit. We have new contracts with our drivers. We took the lowest bid, most successful bid we could, but providing transportation services island-wide requires us to make a greater investment, and we continue to do that. We continue to see an investment in our public safety. We protected and increased where we could our elderly activities division. We also providing more employees for our Parks and Recreation Department because we're asking them to do more. For example, with a successful purchase, I'd like to congratulate Councilwoman Eoff for her many years of participation in that, and O'oma, a shoreline purchase of over Councilwoman Ford and many on this council, all of you who advocated for the purchase of over 231 acres for protection of shoreline conservation in perpetuity. Also with the opening of additional recreational areas in Ka'u. And I was last week Friday before the Board of Land and Natural Resources. I humbly asked this county council to look favorably upon our request for funds for the Mauna Kea State Park to be transferred to the jurisdiction of the County of Hawaii. I'd like to say that this isn't a taking with the state. This is an opportunity for us to work closely with them. We've made this a priority for the past 5 years. Our goal is to, on the Daniel K. Kenoi Highway, to have a quality rest stop that our kupuna can use, that children can enjoy, that families can stop and enjoy peacefully, comfortably, restfully. There's nowhere in the state of Hawaii where you can drive over 50 miles and not have a quality restroom facility, no rest stops. We want to go in, we have a plan to go in, improve the restroom facilities, improve the parking facilities, improve the maintenance, upkeep. We want to restore the cabins, and we want to make the Mauna Kea recreational area a first-class facility for our island residents. You know, some people have asked, are you going to put a convenience store? I heard you're going to put a hotel. I heard the county put commercial facilities, and we don't want to do or have plans for any of that. We just want a beautiful, comfortable, clean, nice place for our residents. Former Mayor Harry Kim once said, and I really appreciate and embody what he said. He said, you know, our goal is to make Hawaii Island a nice place to live. If we make it a nice place to live, it will be a nice place to visit. And I've always believed that to be true. That if we take care of our families, our residents, our community, then it'll be good for everybody. You know, and some people say, what the county biting off more than they can chew? No, we're not. I would not put our leadership or our personnel in a position that we would deliver less than quality or substandard services. We have a plan to go in, to bring the community, to get them involved, to get our military involved, to get our youth organizations involved. When I go around and ask the community, if you had a Cub Scouts or you had a youth group and they asked you to go camping, clean facilities, safe facilities, where would we send them? You know, on this big, beautiful island, where would we put our precious children? You know, and one of those places that we can and should is Mauna Kea State Park. And we want to, you know, people don't care if it's a state park, county park, federal park. They just want a good park. And that's our goal there. So the board has supported our requests, our staff and their staff, the Department of Land and Natural Resources have been working many, many years on creating a memorandum of agreement, a right of entry. A subsequent executive order and permanent transfer is further down the road. But our ability to go in and make improvements and provide access to quality services, I believe, is a wise investment for all of us to make. And I think it'll be greatly appreciated by all of our residents. That's pretty much what I have for all of you this morning. That we will continue to increase capacity of equipment. I know both our fire and police have requests in for personnel and equipment, and we want to support and honor that. I know some of our departments have requests to improve, enhance some of the programs that might have seen reductions. I know some of our employees have come and asked, they stopped me out in a community and asked for one truck because we've delayed vehicle purchases for so long that they cannot use the vehicles they have, or they need another more because the equipment is making it tough for them to do the job in the way that they want to do the job. And so we've tried to keep our requests for additional equipment and personnel and services flat as much as possible, so that the increases were increases that we couldn't control. And so the budget that sits before you is for your consideration. We look forward, all of our departments, to answering your questions, presenting our individual budgets department by department, and look forward to having a communication. I remain open to talking with all of you, any of you, on how we can submit a better budget, improved budget, or the same budget on May 1st that addresses the needs that our community respectfully request. So thank you.
Thank you.